What's up, nerds?
Are you nerdy enough? If so, you know what to do.
Hit that subscribe
Wah,
button!
wah, wah. No, please ignore that part. No, this is two nerds in a basement.
Yeah,
This is
Our
episode 1.
episode
actually.
1 of Two Nerds in a Basement.
Yeah, two nerds in a basement. Just remember that and subscribe.
T and B.
Yeah, T and B. Yeah,
Mhm.
2 and B.
Two and B?
2 and B. That's what the watermark's gonna say.
Oh yeah, because it's the letter. No, the number 2.
Yeah.
Well, today.
So yeah.
Oh, you want to go?
I was just gonna say what it's about.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do that too. Here you go.
Okay. For our first episode, we decided to do one of both of our favorite superheroes, and that's gonna talk about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Mainly focused on the films.
Yeah,
Not really the comic books, because that would take way more than one episode.
it wouldn't take that long.
It would. It'd take
Probably
a few.
a couple days.
Yeah. So, I think we should just start where it all began with the Sam Raimi trilogy. You agree?
Well, yeah. Or we could talk about like a brief history of the cartoons.
Okay, go for it.
Well, there was cartoons, and then there was live action movies.
Thank you. Thank you. My favorite cartoon was Spider-Man. It was just called Spider-Man Animated Series from the 1990s. I think like 1994. I grew up on that. It was pretty sick.
Is that the one where he's like real buff?
Yeah.
He's built.
Dude, yeah. I watched it and I'm like, and then I compare them all the live action
And they're all
Spider-Mans.
like little men.
I'm like, dude, this man roided out. But yeah, no, that's I think it's the best. You get this really cool dynamic between him and Mary Jane a lot of the time,
Mm-hmm.
because she's like, you can tell she wants to date him, but she also wants to be like her own woman in New York City and do all these things. And whereas in the movie, she kind of is like a side character, you know?
Why?
You know what I'm saying?
Why can't she be like do her own thing but also date him?
I don't know. Well, you saw she tries to do that in Spider-Man 3, getting a little ahead of ourselves, but you know, in Spider-Man 3 with the awesome dance scene.
The killer moves.
Oh, those killer moves. I break those out regularly, actually.
I'd break a leg.
Oh yeah, what?
If I tried to do that, I'd break a leg.
Oh yeah, no. Choreography was on point
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Is
Yeah.
is the 1990s one the one where Jonah Jameson's son is an astronaut?
Yeah, and that's how in the cartoon, and the comics, yeah. He that's how the Venom symbiote actually gets back to Earth.
Oh, through the spaceship.
Yeah, and the comet that like came with it. Yeah, it's pretty sick. In the show, I was wishing they would do it in the movies, but they never did. Really. So let's start with Spider-Man 1, 2002, baby.
The intro.
Oh man, it's a really great movie.
Was that the first superhero movie? Like big one?
Mm,
Or was there?
I feel like, as we know it, maybe, but I feel like X-Men was the biggest,
Oh yeah, X-Men.
because that was in 2000.
I forget about X-Men.
I would say that's the biggest first one. I don't know. Apparently, Blade was pretty big. I forgot. It was like 98 or something.
Blade was the first one.
Which is weird. I don't know why they would choose to start with Blade.
I think they were just like picking stuff and they're like,
Testing
hey,
it out.
let's go with Blade.
I don't know. Anyways, back to Spider-Man. Yeah, the first movie, Spider-Man, with the classic villain of Green Goblin,
Mm-hmm.
I think was the best by far choice to start out with it,
Yeah, classic.
because it definitely established for the three movies his dynamic with Harry and the love triangle it creates between him and Mary Jane and Harry,
Mm-hmm.
because she's a woman that likes a lot of different things.
She gets around.
She kind of gets around, and that in the three movies she gets around quite a bit. She gets with, well, she's with Flash first.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
he's got that nice car.
Oh yeah.
Then she goes to date Harry because Peter never makes a move apparently. Then she decides she's in love with Spider-Man. She doesn't know it's Peter. While dating Harry, and she wants to be a Spider-Man.
Oh my goodness.
Then she comes and ends up breaking up with Harry because she wants to pursue Spider-Man. Then in the second movie, she ends up dating J. Jonah Jameson's son. Then she leaves him on his wedding day when she finds out Peter's actually Spider-Man.
Oh my goodness.
Then in the third movie, they're having relationship problems because of Spider-Man being popular and her not being popular.
Really? Is that
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Because
wow.
he's getting kind of a big head about it, and then she gets fired from her show, and he's like, "Man, I've experienced what you're going through." And she's like, "I don't want to hear it, man." And it's crazy. Then she ends up uh actually kissing Harry again, and then
Is that when they're in the kitchen?
yeah, and the do with a twist,
Mm-hmm.
do with a twist, yeah, that scene. That was good. And then yeah, ends up breaking it off with Peter, only to end up with Peter at the end of the movie. It's a whole roller coaster if you involve her
I've never
because
thought about it, but she's an awful person.
she is. I mean, really is. After Harry's dad dies, she literally goes to Peter. Well, actually, she goes to the astronaut guy, then Peter.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah. Back to the other main character, Peter Parker. I think, let's go ahead and preface this. The Raimi Trilogy is definitely my favorite set of movies.
yeah, all together,
I would say
all the
it's,
movies together, but it doesn't contain the best movies together. Like together, they are the best trilogy.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone can agree on that Spider-Man 2 was like the biggest like comic book movie. The first
The
that ever
first
come
big,
out.
yeah.
And everyone could see how comic book movies could be taken seriously then.
Well, I
You know?
thought,
And still have like emotions
yeah, but I
in
thought
it.
Iron Man was the first comic book movie to be like really
Really.
show. I think, I think Spider-Man movies came in and helped pave the way, and then Iron Man helped like solidify
Mm.
that hey, comic book movies do well.
Yeah. Money wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Spider-Man, like the first one we were talking about, held the record for a long time until Spider-Man. No. Spider-Man 3 broke it. Broke the record for the biggest movie,
Spider-Man 3?
I think. Or was Titanic? One of those.
Titanic. It's Titanic.
I'm talking about superhero movies, but yeah,
Superhero
I
movie,
think
Titanic.
Spider-Man 3 before Iron Man and Dark Knight and all that was the biggest superhero movie in the world.
Really? Spider-Man 3 was?
Pretty sure.
Spider-Man 3 sold more than Spider-Man 2?
Yep. Yeah.
It's because people saw Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
And
they
they
were,
were like,
oh
oh,
man.
Spider-Man 3 is going to hit.
And
then it didn't.
It hit the toilet.
It hit the fan
Yeah.
and
So
splattered.
what makes that trilogy so good, as we were talking about earlier, is the villains for me.
Yeah, the villains are very good.
The
Like
way-
Goblin,
Yeah.
the psychology.
Yeah, the way that they're actually like written and presented makes you actually feel for the characters at some points. Like
Mhm.
Doc Ock, he's just trying to create renewable energy, and the
Thing like
the
turned his brain.
arms are the one that turns him evil. He's not an evil guy.
Yeah.
They just start to mess with his head, and then at the end he notices and realizes, hey, this is wrong, and so he sacrifices his own life to kill what he wanted to create so badly. I'm like, wow.
That's a redemption arc.
Yeah, and then you kind of feel the same for Sandman in the third one.
Yeah, Sandman really pulls out your heartstrings because he's like, I'm just doing this for my daughter.
Yeah,
to pay
my
for
daughter
the
has
bills.
cancer, and then you're like, then Spidey's over here like kicking him in the head, and you're like,
What was that?
You're
You
kind
said
of like,
cancer? How's this feel?
You're kind of like, Spidey, let up, man. Yeah. So I mean, all the villains in that one, even Harry coming back around, I thought that was poetry.
I don't like Harry.
Really,
Mm-mm.
go for it.
It seems like a goblin clone.
Yeah, really, he is.
Yeah, but I understand Raimi, because he was like forced to fit all these things into the movie.
So you're saying it wasn't like developed enough?
Yeah, there was not enough development because they took time from him and Sandman and gave it to Venom.
Yeah, which was, as we can talk about, Venom, we were talking about earlier, was not supposed to be in Spider-Man 3
No, it wasn't.
originally, but Sony was focused on like merchandising and
Yeah,
promotions
they're like fit as many characters in as possible.
to get I mean toy sales,
Hmm.
shirt sales. They wanted as many people to come watch it as possible. And Venom is such a big Spider-Man villain for
Hmm.
everyone, especially from that series we were talking about in the comics, and I mean the whole Venom saga. People are gonna come see it, but then it just, you could tell Raimi. He
Did
said it himself, yeah.
he doesn't care about him?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, he was like, I really don't understand this, so I don't think people are gonna even relate to him like the other villains, and I don't feel like I can do that. And they still made him put it in, so you can really tell the parts where he had to shove it in.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Because I feel like if he didn't have him, there would be plenty of time to really develop a good story between
Yeah, I feel like that.
Harry and Sandman and
Yeah,
Peter.
maybe them team up like we were talking about.
What, Harry and Sandman
Yeah, at the end.
against Peter?
Yeah,
That'd be an interesting fight.
yeah.
Because in the movie they team up. No, they don't team up.
No, Venom and Sandman teams up.
But yeah, and then Harry teams up with Spider-Man, and
Once,
then
once he only teams up because the stupid butler Bertram or whatever his name is, Bertram, comes up and he goes, "Harry, I meant to tell you this a long
oh
time
yeah,
ago,
oh yeah.
but your father actually did die by his own blade." And Harry is probably thinking, "Bro,
Why wouldn't you mention that earlier?
I've been trying to kill my best friend for
Yeah.
3 years now."
He's like, yeah, quick news. It wasn't the guy you've been hunting forever. It was actually himself that killed him.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
go get him, Tiger.
yeah, yeah. Get out there, break a leg. And then you see Harry kind of be redeemed, and then, of course, he ends up, spoiler alert, dying. If you haven't seen the movie by now, sorry.
Didn't he die because the thing ran into him, like his own?
Yeah, yeah. Venom took his hovercraft.
And just
By the way,
yoink.
Let's take a little tangent on the hovercraft. I hate his hovercraft. Do you remember it? It's like a skateboard, like a snowboard. Do you remember it?
Mm,
So yeah, Goblin had that really awesome glider.
it's like a wings. It's
Yeah,
like two
yeah.
wings on.
And then Harry, it's literally a snowboard.
Doesn't he?
I'll pull it up real quick.
Is it like
We'll try to put an image on screen.
Is it like a snowboard that he rides sideways?
At times he can switch it. That was the only cool part. He could switch. Yeah, see.
Oh, ew!
I
I forgot that was a thing. Ew, that doesn't make any sense.
And the armor he wears looks like paintball uniforms.
That's probably they were hurting for money. It's just like, all right, steal some stuff from some kids.
I mean, kind of looks cool at some point.
Does he have the arm thing?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
arm
because
blade,
that's when he swings at
like the Batman
Peter.
armor?
Yeah, he almost kills Peter with it, and they end up breaking it off. But yeah, yeah. So kind of a downgrade, honestly.
Yeah.
I was hoping he'd go with like, because in Spider-Man 2 at the end it shows this like a silver chrome Goblin uniform
Mm-hmm.
or suit, and I was hoping he'd get in that. And
That'd be really cool.
I thought that would be really cool, but of course we didn't get that. We got Venom and a snowboard, as our movie.
Venom and snowboard.
But when Harry ends up dying with being pierced like
Mm-hmm.
his father, I thought that was actually really awesome poetry, like poetic.
Yeah.
Coming back on it, just like his father, being redeemed and all that. And then he dies, and him and Peter make up while he's dying. Tugs at the heartstrings. The whole movie tugs at the heartstrings, because you find out Sandman didn't mean to kill Ben,
Yeah.
and then you learn he's got a daughter with cancer, and
Other than what is it, Eddie?
Eddie Brock,
Yeah.
Venom.
I don't like him.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, that's how it shows how crappy of a villain it is, because you don't feel anything for him. Like every other villain, it's written where you're like, oh man.
Even if he's like a bad villain, like really bad, you still feel something when like
Like
Like-
Goblin, you're like, that's still Harry's father.
yeah.
How are you gonna explain this? And he's like, don't tell Harry that I was the Goblin. You still feel that, but Venom, you're like, woo, you exploded.
Yay, he did it, you crappy villain.
Yeah, I mean, Hey, it's Eric Foreman from that '70s show. Ooh,
Oh,
shiver me timbers.
shiver me timbers. Be
Yeah,
like the Calendar Man.
the Calendar Man.
Do you not know the Calendar Man?
I don't know the Calendar Man.
I think he's a Batman villain.
Really, I have not. I've not seen.
You know like the Flash villains, how
Yeah.
they're all like real cheesy.
Mm.
It's like that, but for Batman. He doesn't fit in at all.
It is gritty.
Batman's all gritty. He's like Counterman's like, what day is it?
Like Jim Carrey's Riddler.
Oh, Jim Carrey's Riddler was good.
Okay, we're not gonna dive too deep in that because our next episode is gonna be Batman. So we'll talk more about those movies. But back to Spider-Man. If I had to rate out of 10 the Raimi trilogy for me,
I think you have to do individual movies.
individually, because 3 brings it down.
Yeah, I think number 1 is 8.
8. I could.
Number
agree.
2 is a 9. I'm not gonna give it 10.
Are we saying 10 out of movie, like in general, like Spider-Man movies?
I was going in general.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Rated
8,
pretty high.
9, and then the third is maybe a 5 or a 6.
Okay. Yeah.
That's generous though, just because I like the movies.
Yeah. I agree with that. 8, 9. For 3, for me, nostalgic wise, because that was the first Spider-Man movie I saw, I would give it 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I don't know the average of that being. I'm really bad at
What
math.
is it? 8, 9. I put 5.
Instead of being 8.
So you're gonna add the 8 to the 5. That's 13 plus the 9, which is 22 divided by 3.
So 7 point something.
7 point something.
It's pretty solid. Yeah,
pretty
I
solid.
think that's mine. We're
It's a
kind of
C.
8 something. I think mine's 8 something. I don't know. But yeah. So overall, really great films. I feel like it's a great origin story. You get the Uncle Ben factor.
Mm-hmm.
Great villains. Great. The only thing that's different from the comics is, of course, the organic web shooters.
Oh yeah.
Instead of having to build his
Well,
own.
isn't that in like one of the comic books?
I'm sure it is.
Because I feel like they did. If they introduced that right there,
Hmm.
that's very weird.
Yeah, because I mean,
It doesn't make any sense either. Like, where's he store that? He just like got it up in his
he has
arms.
to rebuild it. It
Oh,
recharges.
Hopefully, he's got a fast metabolism.
I
He's eating cheeseburgers to recharge his webs.
I mean, because that was the only things I had seen, the movies, when I was a child in daycare, and I'd always
I thought that was like how all Spider-Man was
I thought it was
supposed
supposed to be, and I'd get made fun of by the other kids because they'd be like, that's not how Spider-Man works. I'm like, did you see the
to
movie?
be. And then you deck them.
And then
Defend my
then-
Spider-Man.
Then they're like, no. And then that's why I think originally I didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, because I didn't know when it first came out that web shooters were
Oh, because it was like
artificial.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is this? Is he just lesser, inferior?
inferior Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great segue into moving.
What about why they stop?
Why did this? Oh,
Because wasn't it it wasn't just because they made the third one, was it?
no, yeah, no. The original plan that Raimi and the studio wanted to do for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies was 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a whole nother trilogy, and he was right. Raimi has said multiple times, even to 2020, he said, "I'm disappointed with the third one and how it turned out, and I think about it a lot. I wish I could redo it." And they're like, oh. But then, that's why he was trying to take so long in writing the fourth one.
Yeah.
And in the fourth one, he wanted to have Vulture as the villain with John Malkovich as the Vulture, which would have been pretty sick. And he wanted to have Anne Hathaway as Black Cat, I think. I think maybe it was Anne Hathaway. Black Cat.
That sounds right.
It would have been really cool. And yeah, I think it would have been a really great movie. And he really wanted to, if that was his last movie of Spider-Man, he wanted to end it on a high note because he felt like he did a disservice to the fans by ending it with the third one. And Sony kept pressuring them to finish and he wasn't happy with the script. And so they secretly, behind his back, which is pretty rough, they were secretly making The Amazing Spider-Man.
They were making it
They were writing it at the same time.
Oh, wow.
As a whoop, in case kind of thing, you know?
Dang.
And then they gave him this email one day, and they're like, "Hey, man, are you still not finished?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Well, we're gonna go ahead and move ahead with our movie, our The Amazing Spider-Man movie."
Dang.
And this was like 3 days after they were starting Spider-Man 4, like officially starting it. Yeah, because they were doing like
And they just pulled the
press.
cord.
Yeah, they were doing like press and like, yeah, we're about to start going. Tobey Maguire's like, I'm excited to see where we can go with this. Raimi was like that.
Sony has a tendency just to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they messed Spider-Man 3 up and then really messed up the fourth one.
If they just gave him like maybe what 6 months,
Oh yeah, I'm sure he could
six
have.
months he could have pulled it off.
I feel like he could have written a script he liked, that the fans liked, and that could have kind of not erased the third one, but fixed. That's a good word.
Maybe yeah, like address situations that happened in the third one and like explain them through the next movie.
Maybe.
Like this happened because of this. It's not stupid. Please buy the movie.
Please come watch it. Yeah, and I mean, and the whole cast was set to return except Harry, of course.
Dead.
Ooh. Yeah, they were always about to come back, and yeah, and it just kind of faded into nothingness.